Hello and welcome to the Scoutcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe.
And my name is Andy.
Andy, welcome. What is coming up on the show, which is the final... It's not the final show of the season, but it's the final preview show. We'll be back next week to recap on how we're doing and looking ahead to next season, any lessons learned. But this time it's all about Gameweek 38, isn't it, Andy?
It is indeed. So on tonight's show, we are not going to have a quick recap of Game Week 37. Nope, Game Week 37 does not exist to me anymore.
What's that player I put in the notes?
We are going to prepare for Game Week 38.
It's Richarlison, everyone. It's Richarlison.
We're going to be looking at the best fixtures in Game Week 38, because obviously there's only 1 week left. And also we're going to be looking at some home bankers as well. I'm not going to lie, Game Week 38 is always massive and it's always so weird and wonderful, so we're going to be looking forward to looking at those. We're going to look at the latest stats as well to see whether that can help us. We're going to look at the community team, bless the community team, and then we're going to look at our teams and think about what we're doing moving forward. I will say as well, I do have a new little cable for my internet, so fingers crossed.
There you go.
It all goes well.
New tractor, new season. So
yeah, exactly.
The guy in the field that powers your internet is on. It's gone on a new cable.
On the wheels. The guy on the wheels pedaling really hard.
Right, let's have a look at Game Week 37 so far. To timestamp this, we are streaming this on Tuesday evening as the Liverpool Southampton game is taking place, and I believe Southampton are up. You were telling me up 1-0 with
1-0
Nathan Redmond. Key theme tonight is going to be Final Day Heroes, and Nathan Redmond was exactly one of those. I think it was while I was recovering in hospital about 2 or 3 years ago. It was a bright spark in an otherwise very unpleasant May for me. But there we go. So let's have a look at my points. I have 42, which I'm very pleased about. Sort of. It's okay, but my rank is a red arrow with 106k. I was 66k last time I was on. Then I didn't own KDB. KDB promptly scored 4 goals, was triple captained by some, and my rank, I plummeted. I doubled my rank. I was suddenly about 110, 102k I think by the end, and then I was 120k the other day. But luckily Dubravka's clean sheet pulled me up a little bit there. So I've got Dubravka in goal, Alexander-Arnold who's not playing, Ben Davies comes in for him, so I get 6 points. Robertson, he's not playing tonight, he could come on. If he doesn't, I've got Rudiger ready and waiting. Cancelo, blank. Dewsbury Hall, the Lord, blank. Kulusevski, 0 points. I'm not going to do the Ben Davies coming on for him gag, because that's not going to happen. I've got Saka, blank. Son, blank. And I've got De Bruyne, blank. Nketiah, blank. It's all blanks, a whole lot of them, apart from Richarlison. So I'm on a bit of a hit roll, but it's just too little too late. I brought in KDB for Salah. Salah's not playing. I'm very happy with KDB going into the final game week at home against Villa. And I swapped Ollie Watkins out, who did score, but nevertheless I swapped him for Richarlison, who I captained, and we've got another game left. And Everton are clinging on. So let's hope Richarlison can get some more points. So in an ordinary game week, I'd be happy with this, to be honest. But it's a double game week. There's loads of free hitters. Can't compete. How's your game week gone?
Not very well.
Okay, well, let's put your score up then.
Put it up.
Okay, you better say what this score is then.
So I am on 23 points with a -4, so I'm on net 19 points. I was 13k 2 weeks ago. I'm now 52k.
Right.
So I'm struggling a little bit. I had Pope in goal, who actually was a good start to the week. I had Kane score. Pope was making save after save. He did get himself booked, which probably stopped him getting a few bonus there as well. I had Laporte and Cancelo, both got 1 point. Robertson isn't playing. He better not come on either, because I've got James, who I'm hoping doesn't come on either, and I'm going to be telling you why in a minute.
Right.
Kulusevski got me 0. Son got me 3, Coutinho got me 2, Gordon got me 2, Kane got me 7. I had Ings captain, who I brought in for Brozier. It's not looking good, but I do have 8 Nori on the bench, third on my bench. If Robertson and James both don't play, I get 11 points off the bench. So
wow.
This is what I'm clinging on to now, Joe. This is what I'm clinging on to. This is what this season's done to me. 13k 2 weeks ago.
Do you know what? I knew there was going to be a rotation at Liverpool tonight, and I was thinking, please, one of them just not get on that coach. And so I was pleased about that. And so it is. That's what it has come down to. And yes, last night I was watching the Arsenal Newcastle game with my Arsenal fan friend, and he was obviously really sad. And all the time I was going on about Dubravka Arsenal not managing another shot, and Dubravka not getting his 3rd save for an extra point for me.
Yeah.
And so that was my concern. So that didn't go down too well.
No, it's not been a fun week. I think for people that were free hitting, it's turned out to be quite a good week. For, like I said, for me, I spoke about Ings over Richarlison in the members video, and I fancied Ings. I said that I trusted Villa more. Yeah. What I probably should have done is thought about the individual in the team rather than the team, because I was right to trust Villa more. Yeah. Everton capitulated yet again, but Richarlison returned and got the goods. So, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit down at the moment. But Ings has got Burnley next. Burnley can't defend for Toffee. Ings could easily get a brace. So we'll see how I end up at the end of the week.
Indeed. Someone in the live chat, CTK, was saying that Old Nori won't come on for you because Kulu played some minutes, but I think
he definitely will.
He definitely. We're taking that into account. We are fully aware that Kulusevski actually played. He's just rubbish and came on and got booked. But it's Robertson and James. If neither of those come on, then it's happy days.
Because I have to have 3 defenders playing, don't I? So 8 Nori will come on for me.
Yeah, definitely. So, I like these kinds of things. So,
thank you.
Let's move on, shall we? Game week 38 could be better,
swiftly.
Isn't it? Well, the rest of game week 37 could be better. We never know.
Oh, no. I could finish quite happily. If but we'll see.
We'll see.
Not going to hold any hope.
Let's look ahead. We'll have a look at the fixtures. Do you want to? I mean, I've got them up on the screen. I don't know if you want to sort of read out who's got the bet. I've sorted it by fixture difficulty, and I've got a certain Harold Kane holding a match ball for his annual end of season hat trick. But yeah, who are the teams who've got the best fixtures this week then?
Yes, so game week 38, the best fixtures on paper at the moment. We've got Spurs at the top. They're obviously got Norwich. They are away from home, but Norwich obviously love conceding goals at the moment. We've got Arsenal as well. They've got Everton at home. Chelsea at home to Watford. This is going in order, by the way. We've got Newcastle away to Burnley. Then we've got Brentford at home to Leeds. Leeds away to Brentford, which is quite strange.
Yeah.
We've got Leicester at home to Southampton. Burnley at home to Newcastle. Then we've got West Ham away to Brighton, Man City at home to Villa, Man United away to Crystal Palace, Brighton at home to West Ham. And then, interesting, we've got Liverpool quite far down against Wolves at home, which is quite an anomaly.
We had on the captaincy video earlier today and podcast, but also a bit later we're going to have a look at the Wolves defence. I think that colouring should be altered. Because that's a really easy fixture for Liverpool, put it that way.
Then we got Southampton at home to Leicester, Crystal Palace at home to Man United. The way Man United have played away from home this season, I think that should probably be higher up as well. And then Norwich, Everton, Watford, Wolves and Villa all down the bottom. Villa are dead last, playing Man City away from home on the final day. Yeah,
so we're going to look a bit about final days. We're going to look at sort of assess who our final day heroes are going to be. There's always one. Sometimes they're obvious. Well, hopefully obvious, like Harry Kane or Son. Sometimes they're a bit unusual, like Fornals last season, or Nathan Redmond for me a little while ago.
Mane
has been another. So we'll have a look at some of those. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that there's some with the Manchester United game against Palace. Zaha, being a former player, is always keen to get one over on Manchester United. So that could be interesting there. I know a lot of people may have gone for him, not on a free hit, but they might have gone for him perhaps on a bench boost. Could be good. Man City against Villa, that's tasty as well.
Yeah, there's a few. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the games now in terms of players, or?
Well, what we do is, you just draw out any particular players that tickle your fancy for Game Week 38, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Game Week 38 over the years, and to see, is it really the goal fest we think about, and to sort of relive some of those glory final days, and then I'll hand back over to you to have a look at some of the stats, see if the stats can help us in terms of teams and players to go for. But yeah, looking at the fixtures, who do you like the look of based on this?
Yeah, so you've got to take into account the fact Spurs are playing against Norwich. I think if you don't have one of Kane or Son, they are the players you're going to be most fearing as the week goes on. I think it's going to be interesting for me. I've got both, and obviously I'm torn between the two, which one to captain. But I think because of where my overall rank is, I'm probably going to be going for Kane. Arsenal is a really interesting one. They're just waiting for the season to end now, I think. Yeah. And even though they're home to Everton, they look devoid of all kind of confidence and everything at the moment. So I think you're going to be very, very brave if you're going to be bringing in an attacking asset or even a defensive asset at the moment for Arsenal, because Everton are scoring goals. Chelsea's an interesting one. Home to Watford. Depended on, I think if you have some Chelsea players, if you've got someone like Alonso, Reece James, something like that, I think they could do bits in that last game of the season against Watford. Newcastle, an interesting
Mason
one.
Mount, he likes. There's a lot of content on the Fantasy Football Scout articles. I was speaking to Tom earlier, and he really likes look at Mount against Watford. He says that basically a down and out rubbish squad like Watford is absolutely what Mount loves. Most of his points have come against teams like that.
And I tell you, like I said, Alonso and James could run riot on that in that game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And also Lukaku could be an interesting shout. He is getting the game time. He's not doing very well, but he's getting the game time.
Tell you what, he's got some game week 38 form when he was at West Brom.
Exactly. Yeah, Fergie's last game.
Yeah.
Then we've got Newcastle away to Burnley. Now, Burnley, we know, cannot defend for toffee at the moment. So Newcastle, Callum Wilson, now back, looked fairly sharp last night, even though he looked a little bit toothless at times.
If you weren't going to say it, I would have. Do you know, he grew it back. He's so good, he grew a tooth back.
Oh,
have you seen?
God, it looked horrible. For anybody that doesn't get the context, by the way, he played last night. He got his tooth knocked out, literally the front tooth knocked out.
You could see it hanging.
And he played on.
I mean, Ooh.
Yeah, fair play to him. Now, one that I'm definitely targeting, Brentford at home to Leeds. Leeds are obviously struggling again defensively as well. They did equalise very late against Brighton, which kept their hopes alive. Toney, for me, is high up on my list. If you've got Ings or Richarlison and you're potentially looking to get rid of him, I think Toney's a very, very easy
You have
move.
read my mind. I spoke on the.
It's on my mind as well.
I spoke on the captaincy video that I actually think he's a key captaincy contender. Because not only is it a good fixture, he's home is Brentford. Brentford have had a great season. Going to reward their fans, put on a show. There's beef. There's Yorkshire beef there in this fixture. They absolutely hate Leeds in terms of relegation promotion. They were their promotion rivals, and when Leeds went up, they mocked Brentford when they failed in the playoffs.
Yeah, they took the mick out of the manager, didn't they?
Yeah, and Toney found that tweet of them singing and taking the mick out of their manager and did one of those sort of eye emojis on it. And so he's ready and waiting. He is looking forward to relegating. The Brentford fans are going to laugh when Leeds go down.
Yeah, I know.
It's so good.
And the thing I keep thinking about is last game of the season, Leeds are all over the place. Discipline-wise, they're all over the place as well, getting players sent off and things. And is it really beyond the realms of possibility that Leeds can see 2 penalties? Toney takes 2 penalties and gets you 13 points in the last game of the season. Yeah, I can genuinely see it.
We've had a pop at strikers all season, but if you're gonna go for like a 1 week punt attacker in a fixture like this, who could possibly get you double-digit hauls, Toney's your man, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Leeds, I won't be targeting anybody from Leeds, unfortunately, against Brentford at home. At Brentford. Leicester against Southampton's an interesting one, though. James Maddison, absolute haul already this week. Vardy as well, Barnes as well. The last game of the season, it'd be interesting to see what team they put out. I think Maddison is a lovely shout if you wanted to go there. He's just one player of the season as well. He's going to be on a high. So if you wanted to target any Leicester players, still don't think I'd target any defenders because they cannot defend set pieces. But if any team is on the beach at the moment, it's Southampton, really. Burnley, Newcastle, we've already spoken about. I think I'd be targeting Newcastle more than Burnley.
Yeah.
But West Ham at home to Brighton, away to Brighton. Jared Bowen. Yeah. He's not in any teams. He's not, and he is continuing to be one of the best players in the league this season.
The curse of the double game week. West Ham, no double game weeks, so we've ignored Bowen. One of the highest scoring average score each week's been 7 points a week. So I think Son is the only one to really top that. And for the last two months we've ignored one of the best players in the game. He's not going to be that price anymore next season, so say goodbye to that. You're going to be looking at a 9 million guy probably, and we probably might not bet him in financially, but we can this time. But we've all ignored him, so
it's a shout. It's a shout. And then Man City are obviously the other one. So Man City, if you wanted to go for it, if you think you can predict what's happening, if you want to go on Twitter and have a look at what Disable's doing and Jump the Wave are doing and predicting what the team's going to be, they've been pretty good at that this year. So if you wanted to go for that, you can see a City midfielder hauling in the last game of the season, can't you? Someone like Foden, someone like Mahrez, someone like Sterling, they've got it in them. And playing against Villa,
it all goes through De Bruyne.
Playing against Villa, Villa away from home, I think that's, if you can handle it yourself, kind of trying to get that midfielder in, then yes, I think that's a good shout as well.
Definitely. So game week 38, we will assume is going to be a goal fest. All seems to be in our memory. So let's have a look at some stats to see if it really is.
Like this.
So this is something I saw in Tom's article on Fantasy Football Scout today. So what he's got is the average goals per game in game week 38 of the last 10 or so seasons, and then the season average to see how much above the season average. So for example, last year the average number of goals in a game over the season was 2.69. The average goals in game week 38, 3.1 already, and it basically goes like that every season. For example, the season before 2019-20, 2.72 season average, 3.3 average goals. So you can see that there's more goals being scored each season. Same thing in 2018-19, and it just goes on and on. I'm trying to see where the biggest one was. I guess 2016-17,
almost an extra goal a game.
3.7, it was 2.8 was the season average. So there's an extra goal a game. And if for the home teams in particular, it's very, very advantageous because they're playing their finale in front of home fans. If they're away, there's more threat of rotation. They're not playing in front of loads of their fans. A few, but there's more onus on a team to put on a show. And not dilly dally, not hide away the stars. The fans have come for the dilly dally with their rotation.
Dilly ding, dilly dong.
Yeah, the fans have come for the end. This is a big, Boxing Day, season opener, whatever. This is a big occasion for the fans, and you don't want to be disappointed. Like you say for example, say Salah is fit for the Wolves game at home. If Klopp leaves him out completely, then that's really bad for the fans there. And so on. So as we can see there, hopefully I've explained it for the benefit of the podcast listeners as well. It's the same story. You're looking at somewhere between 0.5 and a whole goal extra each match. So there's a lot. And also, Tom in his article has looked at the most goals in history. So some of the glamour clashes for the goals over the last decade or so. And there's some we can all remember these. Some of like, for example, in 2020-21, Leicester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 4. That was fantastic. Crystal Palace 5, Bournemouth 3, 2018-19. I remember that. This one was great. 2017-18. I think this was Kane got a hat trick, and I think myself.
I remember that. I captained him.
And a number of people got well over 100 points in a single game week, getting over 100 points. And lots of people around you getting that. That's pretty good. But yeah, Tottenham 5, Leicester 4. Season before, yeah. Oh no, perhaps it was this season here actually. See Kane. Kane is so prolific in the final day. I think he's averaging 12 points over the last 4 game week 38s. You own him and you're going to captain him. It's 48 points over the last 4. Chelsea 5, Sunderland 1, 2016-17. Stoke 6, Liverpool 1 in 2014-15. See the power of the home team there. Leicester 5, QPR 1, 2014-15. West Ham 4, Reading 2, 2012-13. And this, I mean, as a Manchester United fan, you'll remember well that we spoke about it earlier. West Brom 5, Manchester United 5. Fergie's last game, 2012-13.
Wow, yeah.
Amazing.
I remember that because I was walking out of Wembley when I saw the result.
And you
watching
think of this...
Yeovil get promoted to the Championship.
Oh, yes. And I saw them the season they were in the Championship because Brighton came to visit. And it was a stunning 0-0, and Yeovil equipped themselves admirably to keep out the mighty Brighton, which weren't so mighty at that time. But I remember that game, and it shows you the swings that are available. So in a number of these teams, you're going to get a number of double-digit hauls. You're going to get, maybe 15 to 20 points in some of them. And if you've captained them as well, suddenly, like we saw last week, you sit. Oh, I've got a mini league lead, or I'll never catch that guy who's 40 points ahead of me. Wait a minute! Suddenly, Harry Kane scored a hat trick. Suddenly, Lukaku scored a hat trick, and you're away. It shows the power of Game Week 38, I think. But what's been your biggest, your best Game Week 38 memory?
It was the Spurs 5, Leicester 4. It was captaining Harry Kane. I think I went from about 40k up to 15k on the last day.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy with that. But obviously it's a while ago now. But I remember that. I think my whole strike force pretty much got braced. I think Lacazette got a brace and I owned him because that was back when Aubameyang was playing in Europa League and Lacazette was playing in the Premier League.
Okay.
And I had Vardy, I think, as well. And I think Vardy did quite well that game as well. So I think my whole front line got me like 60 odd points, which was lovely. But yeah, that was quite good. Apart from that, I remember I didn't go for it, but I remember a lot of people went for Walcott on the last game of the season when he had Arsenal and he got a hat trick.
Yeah.
I remember quite a few people did that. Mane was the big one last year. I really remember that because I was at Fulham watching Fulham Newcastle randomly, and Mane obviously got the hat trick, and Bamford got benched. I remember there's loads of weird things that happen on the last day. So, literally, it's just one of those things where you just got to go with your gut, and if you feel like a low-owned player is going to do quite well, then go for it. Because like Joe's already said, it can be the difference between coming second and winning a mini league, which is what a lot of people care about in the FPL.
Yeah,
so
definitely. I mean, I think two of my biggest memories are when it was my top 1,000 season, and Lampard gave Drogba the penalty to get his hat trick, and I captained him. And it also
they got another pen, didn't they?
And it won me the Fantasy Football Scout Cup that year, which is quite hard to win. And because a lot of people, I think my opponent captained Van Persie that day, and so I remember that really well. And the other one, of course, is less points, but just the spectacle of it. I captained Aguero in the QPR game.
I knew you were going to mention that.
But he only got 7 points, so he only got me 14 points. And I took a hit to do it. And
Balotelli got his first assist of the season that game.
I think I may have had him as well, but I might not have. But it wasn't hugely lucrative. But I remember it. I was so excited, and then he got booked for taking his shirt off. And I was, but couldn't begrudge him that. But and I don't know about other people watching and listening, or yourself, but I'm increasingly becoming less of a head manager and more of a heart manager. I'm increasingly like, I like him, or I don't like him. I'm going to get him in.
Narrative FC.
I like the narrative of these things. Last season, I got David Silva in because it was his final game. I just wanted to. He's been a good player for me over this. If I had a slot in midfield and it was easy for me to do, Christian Eriksen, I would get him. I don't know if it's going to be last game, but I haven't owned him this season. I just want to. And it's those types of things. That's why I like Toney against Leeds. And I like these stories. I like the fact that Manchester City, some of the players there, this could be their final game for them. Same with Chelsea, like so Rudiger, the final game. I'm going to be playing him. So I go much more heart than head. Gameweek 38.
That's fair, yeah.
And I like that. That's just the way it is. I was looking at some other scores. Gameweek 38 last season, particularly interesting for Manchester City. Manchester City 5, Everton 0. Manchester City were at home there. Exactly the same season before. Manchester City 5, Norwich 0 in and Manchester City at home there. So this is why I'm really pleased to have KDB, and he is a captaincy contender. I think he'd be a good option to get. Just looking at 2018-2019 season, there's still a lot of goals. I mean, even Tottenham against Everton, Tottenham at home against Everton was 2-2. And looking at some other ones, so yeah, Newcastle United against Fulham was 4. That was a rare away haul within the Gameweek 38. But so Newcastle 4, Fulham 0, and of course Crystal Palace 5, Bournemouth 3 that we've already mentioned.
Man City with 4 goals again.
Yeah. So this is what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping for. Finally got me some KDB action. But probably blank again. But that's me playing with my heart and my head. I don't know. Yeah. I think it's playing with my head actually. Getting KDB in for the final game. Let's have a look at some stats. I think so. We'll look ahead to Gameweek 30 in terms of the players. So we've got enough of looking at the past, and these are the players that we think could do well based on form. So we've had a look at the fixtures, and so the table up on the screen is best players, expected goal involvement, last 4 matches. So who's top of that then?
Shock horror is Harry Kane.
Yes.
So Harry Kane is top, and fairly clear at the top as well. He's the only one with over 4 for his XGI in the last 4 matches. 3 chances created, 15 shots inside the box, and actually he has done quite well recently, obviously because he's had penalties. It's been great to see that he hasn't taken penalties away from Son, he hasn't taken penalties away from Son. No, that is right. Which is good, because I think that would really hurt him as an asset, Kane. I think the penalties are, because he's so good at penalties.
He's not going to. I think he said that we don't do that here. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Son, I don't think is going to. It's just the way it is.
No, exactly. So I think that's, like I said, if you don't own Kane or Son on the last day, it's going to be a tough watch, I think, because they're probably going to be assisting each other. If they do, this week what happened, it was a 1-0 win, and they struggled to do that. It was in the 8th minute of extra time in the first half. So there's no guarantee they're definitely going to do it. I think if Kulusevski's back, that really helps them, but I think you're going to be wanting one of the two, if not both, if you can. Then it's Welbeck next in his last 4 games. Obviously, he's got West Ham, so it's not an easy fixture, but an interesting one there if he starts. Jesus is next. Again, really tough to know whether he's going to be playing. When he does play, it's a good shout. Sterling next again, if you wanted to go for that midfielder. He's quite expensive, 10.5 million, but if you can get him in, he's not a bad shout if you do have a hunch he's going to start. Then it's McAllister, then Trossard. Trossard's obviously been in incredible form recently, so he's worth having a look at. Bruno Fernandes is next, away to Crystal Palace. Tough one.
No, I don't think many people would go there, but you never know.
No. Son is next. Again, away to Norwich. Obviously, it's an away fixture, but Norwich can't defend. They try, they can't defend. Cornet next, then Watkins, then Richarlison. Richarlison is going to be an interesting one for me. I'm wondering whether people might hold on to him because Arsenal have capitulated so badly in the league to try and get that top 4 spot. And now top 4 is potentially, out of their reach, it's out of their control, whether people keep hold of Richarlison for penalties and things like that, maybe.
I mean, I'm not going to, because I like the narrative of Toney.
Yeah.
I don't like Richarlison's narrative unless he picks up a big flare. So Toney gets it, and also I'm gonna bench Ramsdale. I've got Ramsdale and Dubravka. Like this week, I'm just gonna play Dubravka because I prefer his fixture. I like he just looks like a better goalkeeper. He looks like he's gonna get more saves. And what Ramsdale did not look good last night.
No, he looked very shaky, didn't he?
Did yeah.
I've said this. I say this on the member stream every single week. Newcastle at home are completely different. Their home is a fortress at the moment, and genuinely, Xhaka came out afterwards, didn't he, and said the Arsenal fans, bad loss the week before, and they just looked like they weren't ready to be there. And that's exactly what it looked like the whole game.
Yeah.
Saka came out and said he was so
Newcastle are
disappointed.
away in Gameweek 38 to Burnley.
Yeah.
But I still think I'm still think there's going to be saves. I think he's a better goalkeeper even away than Ramsdale is at home. And although if I maybe if I'm getting rid of Richarlison, I should I throw my eggs into one giant Everton won't score basket and go for Ramsdale. But I genuinely think Everton probably will.
I think I think I'd probably play Dubravka because they have a bit more belief about them than Arsenal do at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm going to temper expectations. Like I said, Newcastle away from home are very different as they are at home. And this happens a lot. People watch Newcastle at home and go, jump on their assets. And then they play away from home and they can lose against anybody. And
So you would prefer Ramsdale over Dubravka?
No. I think it's tough because I do think Ramsdale. I think Arsenal as a whole have lost a lot of belief, and they're just waiting for the end of the season now. Like they know they're not getting Champions League, and I think they're just waiting to end. Whereas Newcastle could probably go out on a high, but I just think temper expectations in terms of Newcastle. I like the fixture, but just like I said, temper expectations. There's nothing to say that they're going to finish that game 0-0 or even lose, and Burnley, are sure that they get, because Burnley have something to play for in that final game. They need to get some points in that final game because it could all go against them. So, I'm just tempering expectations, really.
Okay.
The last three players on this list are my favourite players on this list.
That's why I expanded it down. Also, the expected goal involvement between the last 4 or 5 was so similar, it would just be unfair to cut them off at the 10 mark. So I think I put 12 or 13 or so. So
the last 3 on this list are Vardy, obviously 10.3 million, 2.43 expected goal involvement. Toney is next, exactly the same, 6.8 million though, so kind of a 4 million bargain there. And then Bowen is third, 2.41. They're almost identical with their goal involvements. The thing I love about these 3 players is that they can genuinely get you double-digit returns. Vardy, Toney and Bowen, they can all do it. Bowen and Vardy did it this week, and Vardy's got another game yet. For me, Kane is at the top for me. If you don't own Kane and you can get to him, I feel like you need to get to Kane because he is the player who can get you 3 or 4 goals on the last game of the season.
Or Son, if you don't.
Or Son, or Son. Son. For some reason, I prefer Kane this week. But
Son consistently outscores Kane because who's going to assist Kane? Who gets more points for a goal? He
has for this year, yes. But I look, Kane's on pens. I still stand by it. Kane and Son have had identical stats. It's just that Son has outperformed Kane in terms of goals. That's what it's been. And obviously, Son is he's a midfielder.
If we think Kane's going to do well, chances are Son is. If we think Son's going to do well, chances are Kane will.
Yeah. If Kulusevski's out, Son and Kane, that partnership's good. But if Kulusevski's in, then it could be Kulusevski getting some of the assists and creating. That's a big difference. I think the
real play here is get Son and Kane if you can.
Yeah,
and that is very tricky. And captain one, and then I think you're probably going to be sorted. Yeah.
But Vardy, Toney, Bowen, like I said, if for me, they are the 3 players you need to be targeting to get into your team that have a proven history of hauling, getting double-digit returns. Vardy's the gamble because you don't know whether he's definitely going to play in that last game. He could play the next fixture in this week, and then it'll be Daka Iheanacho that comes in. But Toney and Bowen, like you said, has been criminally overlooked with all these double game weeks that have been happening. And he's got a brace against Man City. I mean, he can do it against absolutely anybody at the moment. Yeah. And Toney, for me, like we said, against Leeds, got penalties. And it just screams to me one of those games where he's going to get 2 penalties in the last game of the season. So I really love those last 3 players.
There's some really interesting sort of, if we delve further into the stats that go into the expected goal involvement. In terms of chances created, so that likely to assist, De Bruyne 15, the clear favourite out of all of these. He's the man most likely to assist a City goal. Son 13 chances created, so he's going to be assisting Harry Kane. And in terms of shots inside the box, Vardy and Toney, identical, 12. Watkins with 13, but he's playing Manchester City. Kane with 15, which is the highest out of all of the players we mentioned here. So if you've got a lot of these players, happy days. If you can get to a lot of them, happy days. I think the only sort of caveat with the Brighton and West Ham players is that is a tricky fixture for both of them. So I can't see that being hugely high scoring, but you never know.
Interesting. What about City as well? Just very quickly, it has come out, hasn't it, that Gundogan won't be there next year. He's leaving.
Yeah.
So interesting shout to see whether they play Gundogan a little bit higher up and play De Bruyne back, or whether having Gundogan definitely playing means De Bruyne goes up. Like I said, definitely check out what Disable's doing and see if he can predict that. If he can predict it on the final day, he can do it whenever.
Yeah. So it is tricky, but there's so many contenders in. As we've said, the history, Gameweek 38, it would be amazing if for some reason the stat with the average goals drops. It hasn't happened for a decade, so it would be weird if it happens suddenly now.
Really, really interesting. There's no Liverpool players on there.
No. That is because I would think there's been a lot of rotation because they're involved in so many competitions. There's been so much rotation there. So Salah would normally be on here, but he's not because he hasn't. Even though this is the last 4 matches they have played, he's just not figuring on there because he's been maybe a sub in some of those. Same for the likes of Mane and Jota. All of these are usually up there. But if we think that Liverpool are going to put out a strong squad against Wolves at home, but is Salah fit? Is Van Dijk fit? Yeah. Is Robertson fit? I don't know. And will they get 90 minutes? Will Salah get 60 minutes? Will he come on for 30 minutes? All of that says to me no for the captain, and I feel at one with myself for getting rid of Salah last week, and
I feel at one with myself.
I'm at one with myself. I've made.
Do you mean you're at peace? You're at peace.
No, I'm at one with myself. I've made a unanimous decision to do it. I'm not at peace with myself about it at all. I'm just at one with myself.
Yeah, lovely.
We're going to move on to some more stats while I get my mouse to work, which should do in a second. There we go. We're going to look at attacking teams. Who are the teams we should be targeting? Who's at the top here, and who are the least attacking?
Yeah, probably least surprising is fact Man City at the top. They've scored 16 goals in the last 4 games. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? And their XGI is through the roof at 11.71. So they are overperforming, but it's pretty high all around, really. Brighton are next. Almost 10 expected goals, and they've scored 10 goals. Obviously, they demolished United in that, didn't they? And got up a big XG there. Then there's Spurs.
I've just got to drink that in a bit. Brighton are the second most attacking team behind Manchester City.
Yeah.
Wow. Who would have thought that when they were almost out of the league at Hereford, a ground where they literally parade an ox around the pitch beforehand?
So it is, then Spurs, then Liverpool, then Crystal Palace, then Chelsea, then Burnley, interesting, who are underperforming. They've only scored 4 goals with an XGI of almost 7. Then Aston Villa, then Leicester. Leicester are really overperforming, just over 6 for the XGI, and they've got 10 goals out of those. And then right at the bottom, Norwich only scored 1 goal and put up just under 4 expected goals in the last 4 games. So Norwich, Leeds, Watford, Southampton, and Newcastle, surprisingly, are all towards the bottom. Yeah. And Arsenal are 7th from bottom, which is quite interesting as well.
That Norwich stat there, that says Ben Davies might get a proper run out this time, but either that or will be a super first sub, hopefully. Let's have a look at some of the worst defences. So, who are the worst defences?
Yeah, so worst defences are Wolves. Wolves have conceded just as many goals as you would expect. The same with Norwich and Leeds. They're both conceding as many as they should be based on their XGI, which is around 10. Obviously, we're targeting Wolves with Liverpool. We're targeting Norwich with Spurs, and we're targeting Leeds with Brentford. Yeah. And fourth are Watford, and obviously they've got Chelsea. So this is primed to be a really big week, really.
If you're free hitting,
it just kind of makes sense.
Last week we had our sort of dream free hit. Do have a look back on that. To be honest, I haven't done it this week because it hasn't changed. It's those teams, top players from those teams against these weak defences. Yeah.
Man United are 5th. We've said all this about Crystal Palace already. I wouldn't be bringing any Man United players. I feel like we're going to struggle away at Selhurst Park. Southampton are next. which is obviously interesting. Southampton are playing, can't remember now, it's on my head.
Leicester.
Leicester, of course they are. So that makes, as we've already said, someone like James Maddison very interesting as well. And then West Ham. So West Ham, they do score goals, but they do concede goals as well. But right at the bottom, Crystal Palace, the best defence. Best defence in terms of XGI conceded in the last 4 games. Then Spurs, then Liverpool, then Everton, and then Man City and Chelsea.
Yeah.
So, a bit of a mixed bag there. But the thing that we love to see is Wolves, Norwich, Leeds, Watford, all at the top there, and Southampton as well. So, those leaky defences are playing against those teams we want to be getting in. So that's lovely stuff.
It's gearing up. It's gearing up to being another spectacular Game Week 38. It could be famous last week.
I think it is. But they're always unpredictable as well. That's the other thing.
It's unpredictable. But as we said, a decade, we're not just looking at 4 matches, we're looking at a decade worth of stats that say Game Week 38 has a huge amount of goals compared to the rest of the season. I've got another table here. I'll have a look at this. This is the goals imminent table. I sorted it by goals attempt. So these are players that have scored 1 or no goals. They've only had a maximum of 1 goal over the last 4 matches, but their underlying stats suggest more could be coming. So there's goals imminent there. Toney is at top with 14 goal attempts, just 3 on target, but 12 inside the box. So he's close to there, close to goal, but not on target for a number of those shots. So if that can improve against Leeds, and he can have that same quantity of shots, there could be some returns there. Cooker at Watford, maybe. Mateta at Crystal Palace. Rodriguez at... these are familiar names on the goals imminent table.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a gem emerges. Interesting, Fernandes is on here. So last 4 matches, he's still been bubbling under. And he does have the long-term pedigree. Cancelo, we could be seeing a Cancelo goal, finally. If Man City do haul, they do replicate their end of season 5-0s. Cancelo could finally score. Werner at Chelsea, he's still knocking around there. Still 10 shots inside the box, 5 on target in his last 4 matches. So if he can play, and he's playing Watford, and then Pukki with Norwich. I think if you've got Pukki, just play him. But I think, as we've seen, Spurs' defence is good. I don't even know if he'll play. I presume he will. It's the final home game. Give the fans something to cheer about. Yeah. As they go down.
Not sure, to be fair. I'm assuming he will.
Yeah, you assume he will, because just that point that you want to sort of send off, send off the fans as happy as they can be for a team that's just been relegated. We had some questions from the community. I know we're going to ask some quickfire questions at the end of the show, but given all that we've got, this seems a good point to put them in, because we've had a look at all of these stats here. So Crunchy says, who is the best attacker to bring in for Game Week 38? So let's assume you got a clean slate. Who is the best? Would you say the number 1 target?
If you don't have him, Kane. Right. I feel like Kane is so high up there in terms of, if you were to tier them into who's going to have the potential to do the most, I think Kane's got to be top. I feel like, again, if you don't own Son, it's a Son. If it's Kane and Son kind of together, really.
Yeah.
I feel like Man City probably have the ability to score more goals than anybody else in the last game of the season. We've seen it the last 3 seasons. They've scored 5, 5 and 4. If you can pick that Man City midfielder you think will do it, I don't think it'll be De Bruyne. No. I feel like it'll be somebody like Foden or Sterling or Mahrez. If you can pick the right one, then you'll be in for absolute gold. Apart from that, like I said, it's targeting those weak defences, and I feel like a Mount or a Toney or a Bowen will be quite high up there as well in terms of potential. But I feel like if you don't own Kane, you've got to try and get him in, even if it's for a hit, because you can easily get it back as captain.
And Notlob, I know the answer to this question. Notlob asks, best player to put the triple captaincy on. So have you got that left? Your man again.
Yeah, it's my man Kane. It's got to be for me. He's the one person I can see doing absolute bits in the last game of the season. So apart from that, it's struggling because you've got question marks over everybody else. Even someone like Salah that you would normally be so happy to do it with, God knows whether he plays. So I think think for me, it's still got to be Kane in terms of he's getting 90 minutes. Yeah. He's on pen. So for me, it's Kane easy.
And Scholes out for summer asks, what players is it worth taking a hit for? So just for a hit. So you've got to be careful with a hit at the end of because you can get. I mean, I've benefited the last 3 game weeks. The hit has paid off, but it could go wrong, and it depends where your rank is and where you are in your mini league. So you've got to be careful with a hit. But I guess you'd probably say Kane or Son would be well worth the hit. But would the likes of say Vardy or Toney is that hit territory? Or is it just?
I think it depends on what type of a manager you are. If you wanted to take a hit for Vardy, you have to be either chasing and be happy with the fact you could drop if he doesn't play, or you're just going to be one of those, on 1k, let's see if I can go for it kind of managers. Because if you take a hit for Vardy and he doesn't play, it's horrible. Whereas obviously for Kane, he's going to be playing. So I think for me, Vardy's tough. Toney, he's also a bit tough because, like I said, I can imagine him getting 2 penalties, but that's relying on him getting penalties. Whereas will he score from open play? It's always tough. So I think, yes, I would take a hit if I didn't own Son or Kane, especially Kane. I think Son is so highly owned, a hit might be tough to justify a little bit. I feel like those are the ones I would be taking a hit for. And if you really do have a gut feeling about a City midfielder, I feel like they could be worth a hit if you really have that feeling for them.
Okay. Just before we move on to the community team, because we're having, I can only describe it as a massive nightmare with the community team at the moment. I just wanted to say hello to those who have joined us in the live chat. So welcome and thanks for being with us for the 3/4 of an hour or so that we've been broadcasting so far. Welcome to Tony, Ashley, Eddie, Football Man, Gabrielle, James, Badem, is I pronounce that correctly. Colm, FPL Spartans, Dio, Stephen, Sam, and many more. Thanks so much. Do press that like button. Before we go on to the community team, can I just mention somebody that got a hold of me on Twitter, please?
Okay?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so it's from Patrick Dean, and he is basically just asking me to talk a little bit about Huddersfield, the fact that they've gotten into the playoff final. It looks like they're going to be playing Forest, who are 1-0 up at the moment as well. I'm sure if Joe lets me, I'll have a bit of a chat about the promoted teams before the season starts.
Oh, yes, definitely. That's going to be a key part of next week.
So obviously I've been playing Gaffer this year, so I know quite a little bit about them. It's going to be interesting to see whether they go up. Huddersfield have had an incredible season, and it would be great to see them go up. Obviously, for me, I'd love to see Forest go up. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Forest, but if Huddersfield get up there, I've got big memories of Forest when they first came up. Zanka was on my bench boost and got me 8 points on my bench boost, and that was years and years ago. So I remember him quite fondly. So if they get there, give us a little tweet again, and we'll respond to you again.
Well, when they came up before, they were good defensively, especially at the beginning, and they pulled out some really good results. But they were, I know, in the Sky game, my weekly mention of the Sky game. In the Sky game, you essentially everyone wildcards after about 4 weeks, and those that just got a blanket Huddersfield defence in were laughing, because they could just have four.
Who was their keeper? They had a keeper that a few people owned. Did he go to Everton in the end? I can't remember who it was now. Someone will tell us in the chat.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure they will.
They did. They had some good defenders, didn't they?
It was quite a tidy side. Quite good. They had the name completely escapes me. The guy from Man City, Australian, went to Brighton. I should know this.
Aaron Moy,
and I got him in for one of his 10-point hauls, so a rare haul. Aaron Moy.
He was about 5.5.
Yeah, I think he went to China. Yeah, but he was a great player for them. So we'll look ahead to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to because Jordan Rhodes was who I wanted at the beginning, but they signed. Is it Meunier? Jonas Lossell.
That's it. Yes.
So it'd be fun to see them come up if they do, and the same with Forest. But like I said, I reckon me and Joe might do a little bit of a stream before the season starts about the promoted teams. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean McGinn and Stephen Harker for saying Lossell. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Let's have a look at the community team, because everything I do, what's the reverse Midas touch? Something unpleasant, probably. Yeah. Everything I do touches turns to.
I do it for you.
So So from last week, I got Mahrez in, who didn't do anything. He was my sort of punt there. This week we free hitted. So the team up on the screen at the moment, which is the one we're going into Gameweek 38 with, but I'm currently free hitting. It's chock-a-block full of Everton, Aston Villa, a fair sprinkling of Spurs and City, etc., but no Leicester. So we're going for Kane, great. Ings, Richarlison, but didn't find room for Vardy because we can't have 4 strikers. And so we're done without that. So we're down to we're on about 40 points or so, and we're down well below the 300k mark. Which
40, that's lovely.
It's okay. We're doing okay. So we've still got lots of players to go. So I hope for the best. And I think it's looking good for Game 38. So we've got Ramsdale in goal. I'm probably going to play Dubravka, I reckon. We've got Rudiger, Laporte, Alexander-Arnold and Ben White. So we've got Coutinho, Kulusevski, Saka, Salah, Mahrez, who's I'm going to just keep in. If he's going to play, he could get some returns. I've got Kane up front, who will be the captain. So we've got some options there. The bench is Cher, Broja, Greenwood. So pretty rubbish bench, but they might get some minutes. If Salah's out, that's easy. Salah to Son, done.
Yeah.
But if not, I might look toward. I don't know really. Maybe Coutinho out for
Maddison or something like that.
Maddison, Bowen, someone like that.
Yeah.
Someone who's got potential for a double-digit haul.
Eriksen
would be great because I don't think we can get to Toney with this one. So I don't even know what the aim is for this. We've completely failed in our aim to get this into the top 100k, unless results go away. Game week 37, and if Salah's out and we can do that Son Kane double up and they really go for it, we could do okay. But yeah, it's quite sad really. I really haven't. I thought. I've enjoyed the responsibility of it, but we haven't done a good job. And I honestly, I think I said it to Seb or maybe you. These people who are sort of cheating and having 2 teams. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I'm just managing someone else's. We're managing someone else's team, and it's really difficult.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll do him justice in the last couple of weeks.
Fingers crossed.
Now, introduced a lot of the people in the live chat. We want them to do a bit of work now, to come up with some questions for us, and so we're going to go for that. So do you want to go over your bus team, and I would love to. I'll have a look at mine as well. It's a slightly shorter Scoutcast this week just because it's the final. We're only looking ahead to one game week, so there's nothing else to discuss beyond that really. We're going to do that next week. So it's game week 38 is the focus here. So I'll put your bus team up and you go through it and tell me the dilemmas and who you're captaining, although you've already said it's going to be Kane. Yeah.
So I've got Ramsdale in goal. I've got Cancelo, Laporte, James and Robertson. And then I've got Son, Kulusevski, Coutinho, Saka, Gordon and Kane, who is going to be my captain. And then I've got Pope, Ings, Mateta and Aït-Nouri on the bench. Ings will go for Toney, most probably. That's my idea at the moment. And then I will bench Coutinho and I'll play Toney to go to a 4-4-2. Don't fancy Coutinho. He's done naff all the last couple of games anyway. And he's got Man City away, so I don't expect anything for that. I've taken -4s the last 2 weeks. It has not done me any favours. If I did take a -4 this week, it would be so I could bench Gordon and maybe I would take Coutinho out for someone like Maddison, because I would quite like that idea potentially. But it'd be interesting to see what I do this week. Toney is most likely 90% coming in, but I fairly like my team. I think Kane captain is dead on for me. I feel like I'm not where I want to be, so I want to move up. So yeah, I feel quite good about the team, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, but I think both of us were hit last week by not having KDB in, and that's really harmed the rank. But both you or I mean, what you got a good team there. You've got a good captain in place. I mean, what more can you do? I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the way I look at my team. There's not much more I can do apart from taking a -20 every week. But we can't can't have a free hit every week. And I'm looking forward to a lack of double game weeks, to be honest.
I know a lot of people have said about, the fact you've used chips before is why we're dropping down so much now and things like that. And, I've dropped down 40k pretty much, which I don't think that's just chips. If you look at my team, there's nothing wrong with my team. There's if you look at it, I haven't ill prepared myself. I'm covered for double game. It's all that kind of stuff. It's just what I maybe didn't anticipate is that the free hitters have the very recent news when they then free hit into their team. So, for instance, Watkins, we didn't know Watkins was going to play. Little things like that where you then have that more recent news and you can make that change a little bit closer to the time. But I've just been hit quite badly recently. But there you go. I'm not going to complain about it.
No, I mean that's what the game is, isn't it? There is an element of skill of picking players and planning in ahead. But how can you plan ahead when that player's got COVID and you didn't know about it? Or
captaincy as well. Like, I didn't have KDB last week. People captained him. He got 4 goals this week. Richarlison, I don't have. He's the most captained. I've got Ings, and it's things like that have absolutely killed me recently. But that's just how it goes. You have swings. It's just unfortunate. I'm having a dip right at the end.
Yeah, you can be on the right side of that all the time. But I think what's common is you, whoever, is that you have periods of good fortune and where the skill pays off, and you get others where it's doesn't quite go your way.
Exactly.
Over the season, hopefully it should all even itself out, really.
Fingers crossed.
Let's have a look at my team then. So I have a Dubravka in goal in a 4-4-2 with Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Rudiger and Robertson. I've got Saka, Kulusevski, Kevin De Bruyne and Son, who is my captain. I have Richarlison and Nketiah up front with Ramsdale, Ben Davis, Dewsbury Hall, the Lord, and Broja on the bench. I'm looking at Richarlison's Toney. And there are probably other moves I could do if I use my noggin, but I'm not going to because it's a heart move. I believe that Toney's going to do well and we'll look forward to relegating Leeds. No offence, Leeds fans. But I think that's the narrative that I'm going for. The narrative could be that Toney gets sent off and Leeds humiliate him and they win 4-0. So that either way, there's going to be a narrative there. Yeah. I quite like to play Ben Davis. He's a really great first sub. That's an issue there. Chances are he might come on. I'm just going to go with Nketiah and Saka, although I do fancy Lacazette to start this one at home, just as his final game. I don't know. He's definitely going to get minutes. So I'm slightly uneasy about Saka and Nketiah, but I'm okay. So I'm okay with the bench as well. But Toney, Richarlison in for Toney. That's the planned move. I've got lots of nice blue on the screen, which is colour coded for nice and easy, hopefully. Yes, have we got some questions in the live chat?
We do indeed. As always, we've got some great questions. So Dio Reese Withers says, choose 3 of these 5. He's chasing 100k, so he needs some punts. Vardy, Kane, Lukaku, Wilson and Toney. Which 3 would you have?
Was it Vardy, Wilson?
Vardy, Kane, Lukaku, Wilson, Toney.
Kane. In this order, I can do it in order as well. Kane, Toney, Vardy.
Yeah, my exact same 3
It's going to be goal-alicious week, and they're goal-alicious players.
Yeah. Stephen Harker, is Lukaku worth a final day punt?
No. If you already own all of those other players, which you wouldn't, because you'd have 3, then you wouldn't have room for him. But I think there's better.
Yeah. I think if you were able to pick 5-6 strikers, then it's great. But I just see other people doing better. I think that's a really big gamble. He could do, but I think that's a really big gamble.
I prefer Mason Mount in that game. If you're going to back Chelsea, go for a defender. James,
much cheaper.
James, if you think he's going to play, and Mount. I think they're the ones that could really haul.
Ashley Luca, Salah and Richarlison out for Vardy and Son. He can't get to Kane without dropping Cancelo. So would you do Salah and Richie to Vardy and Son? If Salah's out,
If Salah's out, definitely. Yeah, just do that. Yeah. But if he's not, but if it's one of those where you don't know, just do the move. I mean, Son's going to play, and he's a really great captain. Shout.
Tony D, what would be the maximum hit you take for a final game week team?
I've only taken a -4 before, and that was for someone like Aguero.
Yeah.
On that final day, and I think you said earlier, Kane and Son would be the ones I would take a hit for.
Yeah,
especially
unless you have non-playing players like Salah. If you've got Salah and you can get someone else in because of that, then that kind of makes sense. But otherwise,
in my experience, the chances are you broadly stay similar in game week 38. So that game week I was talking about, where Kane did really well, and got over 100 points. Loads of people did as well. I can't remember what my rank was that season, but it stayed broadly the same.
Yeah. Footyman 10 says, question for me is money no issue. Outside of Trent, James, Cancelo and Robertson, who is the best defender punt this game week?
Trent, James, Cancelo, Robertson. I don't like any defenders in this game week because it'd be loads of goals. Yeah, who would you go for?
I would go for Sessegnon.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, good shout.
I think Norwich are very, very weak on the wings, and they just conceded against 8 Norwich as well. I think Sessegnon would be a really good shout for the last game week, personally.
No, I think that's good. He is fulfilling the Doherty role. It's basically the role that Conte teams have. It's the wing one of the wing backs just goes mad. And he's mopping up and you can tell because he's mopping up the bonus as well. So if they're going to get a clean sheet, I think, what did you get? He got a couple of bonus, didn't he, last time out?
Yeah,
so
I think so.
8 points. So just for doing what he does, no attacking returns, 8 points, nice.
FPL Spartans, bench. Which one would you bench? Kulusevski, Saka, or Nketiah? Not Kulusevski.
Not Kulusevski. I think it would reluctantly Nketiah, because I think Lacazette's going to get minutes, and Saka is still. I mean, although it's towards the end of the season, he's still Arsenal's best player by miles.
And on pen still as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have we got? Could Michael Scott? Could Eriksen be? Could Eriksen be as good an option as Toney?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could he?
Yeah. Because I think he's got a goal in him, and I think he's good for bonus, and he's good for assists. In terms of FPL points, because he's a midfielder, he gets more for scoring. Then I think he's a good. If I had a spare, if I couldn't get to Toney, but I wanted to tap into that narrative that Brentford have some Yorkshire beef, I would go for Christian Eriksen for some Danish bacon with that Yorkshire beef.
But if you had to choose between the two,
well, if I could afford both, I would go for Toney.
Yeah.
Just, I think.
Yeah, I think I would do the same as well. Sam says, should I transfer a differential to enter the top 10k if I'm 12k currently, or just play conservatively and hope for the best?
Okay, so there's two things. I'm not answering this very quickly, but there's two things here. So I've been in this position a number of times. So I've finished within the top 10k a few times, and some of those I've been within the top 10k, some of those I've been just outside and then finished. Play conservatively, because people around you will all go for differentials. If you are 12k, because the reason is because what you think is conservative and what you think is differential suddenly isn't. Cast your mind back a few game weeks. Loads of people, I'll get Weghorst. He's going to be brilliant. What a great differential. Effective ownership, 140%. Ridiculous. So the players that you think are going to be differentials probably ain't. And players that you think you're playing conservatively, I'll be conservative. Do you know what? I've got Bowen. I'll just keep Bowen. He's playing conservatively. It's differential. And it's just going to go like that. So I would say if you're hovering around 12k and you want to get in the top 10k, you should be matching. I would try and get Son and Kane and captain one of them, and you are covered there. I think you'll get a green arrow, and I think you'll get into the top 10k.
I'm going to go the exact opposite.
But
I'm going to say
now the viewers and listeners can make up their mind. How many times have you finished in the top 10k? And how many times have I?
So, boom.
So
I
15k
is the top I've had. I haven't finished the top 10k. But I would. It depends on who you are. Like, it depends on what you want to do. For me, are you going to be more annoyed if you brought somebody in and dropped down to 20k, or are you going to be more annoyed if you didn't bring that person in and they absolutely hauled on the last game of the season? And for me, you always regret the shots you don't take, and I think that's the way I would go. But that's because we're different managers.
No, but also the conservative approach there. So I would say making sure you've got Kane and Son. They're the two. I think they're the two players to have.
Yeah.
And I've got Son. I'm going to captain him. I don't think I can go up too far, but I can't get both without hits, and I'm not going to do that. Even though I'm outside the top 100k, don't care. It's just the way I play it.
And that's it. Yeah. There's no right or wrong way. I mean, there's no. I know you've said Tony D or Joe's pulling rank here, and Matt
I'm just saying because he's asking the question about.
If you have to go like that, it's fine.
No,
don't worry.
If he's asking a specific question, you're just outside the top 10k. You want to finish in the top 10k. I'm just saying that I've literally been in that position.
Sorry, you're dead to me, Joe. Oh dear. But remember, this is Joe that has never finished outside the top 100k until this season.
I know, it's not looking good. I've usually been just inside at this stage. This is not a comfortable position to be in. So maybe, okay, if I was to do your policy, and to sneak in, to go up, I would maybe just do something like Captain Toney.
Yeah.
Real heart move that would be.
Yeah. But you got to live at some point, Joe.
Yeah. Well,
I'm pleased when you're dead.
I've placed, Tony said, pulled rank there. Although
I know, horribly as well.
In your defence, the last 3 seasons, this will be my successive around about top 100k finish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, arguably the last 3 seasons I haven't got much to shout about.
It's all good.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your questions. If there's no more questions, don't want to leave anyone out. Hang on a minute, we've got one here from Eddie Casey. Have we read this one out? Should I do a -4 to get Vardy and Maddison in for Salah and Brozier? He already has Kane, but no Son. So he's just going all out Leicester. Would you do that?
Yeah, you could do. I mean, if you've already got Kane and you don't have Son, I suppose the logical move is to get Son there, isn't it? Like, to get Son and then get someone like Toney up top, I guess. But you could go for Vardy and Maddison. They could absolutely destroy Watford. They've got it in them to do that, and they've got nothing else there, have they? So, yeah, you could do. I don't hate it.
FPL Big Head is asking me if I've ever been just outside the top 10k before. Yes. Many times. I'm just outside the top 10k now, if you want to call 90k just outside.
What?
But yeah, so in a way, this is me putting a gloss on it. If I don't finish top 100k, that's my last record gone. I have no more records left. I know, it'd be terrible. So this is bad news for other managers, because this means a monster will be unleashed. A monster maverick manager.
You say that
who plays with no fear.
You've seen nice Andy this year. After that pulling rank stuff you just pulled, that's it now. Next year, if I'm on Scoutcast next year, I'm assuming I am. But next year, that's it. No holds barred. You and Seb are getting it.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm gonna be humbled. I'm gonna be hobbled. Yeah. It's gonna be
damn straight.
It's gonna be sad. Joe.
Liverpool just scored just as we're finishing.
Oh, right. Yeah. What's the score now?
2-1.
2-1. And so who scored for Liverpool?
I don't know actually.
I thought I saw Minamino.
Yeah, he scored the first.
Oh yeah. And I'm hoping it's Jota for my Sky team, but never know.
Not sure.
No, we'll never know. Wouldn't it
No.
be good? Wouldn't it be good if we never knew? It was just a mystery man, secret footballer. So the secret footballer. If you've captained him, you've done well. Andy.
Oh, it's Matip. Matip's called.
Also in my Sky team. No, he's not actually. No, he's in my rubbish Sky team. So anyway, got him in somewhere.
Yeah.
Excellent. Andy, thanks so much for this final game week preview Scoutcast. Back next week. We're going to haul over the wreckage of this season and look ahead and be all upbeat. So in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
That's goodbye from me.
Goodbye all.